And India jumping in on the space race with a bang, literally blowing up one of its own satellites, successfully testing an anti-satellite missile. Well, former Naval Intelligence Officer John Jordan joins us now with more on this story. So, John, what message is India sending? Is India flexing some space-age muscles? What's going on there?
This really isn't theater. This is one of the great underreported stories with regard to China, and that's what this has to do with. The Indian Ocean is China's soft underbelly. Consider 87% of China's oil has to traverse the Indian Ocean to come very close with it to India, and 100% of its trade with Africa and Europe. And the Indian Navy is quite strong and potent, including having an aircraft carrier and an air force which is competitive with China's. China doesn't have the ability to project a lot of naval power into the region, so if India were to sever that supply line, it would have catastrophic impact for the Chinese economy and Chinese society. So the Chinese are trying to build up, therefore, their ability to project force into the area, and to do that, they need to have satellite reconnaissance, as the Indian Ocean is enormous, to be able to monitor the Indian Navy. The Indians, on their part, want to make sure that they have the capability to deny China that type of reconnaissance that they might need to restore their trade routes.
Wow, big story, underreported story. Another one, this week we also reported that U.S. Energy Secretary Rick Perry gave authorization to some U.S. companies to essentially start preliminary work on nuclear power plant technology in Saudi Arabia. John, should the U.S. be involved in Saudi nuclear power, and what do the Saudis plan to use nuclear energy for?
Well, a couple of points here, John. First of all, as we all know, Mohammed bin Salman's behavior of late, especially with regard to the Khashoggi killing, is deeply troubling to many people for good reason. Also, MBS has said on CBS recently that if Iran pursued a nuclear weapon, so would Saudi Arabia. So you got to be suspicious of the Saudis in this respect. However, they are an ally of the West in the conflict with Iran. And in any event, if they want to have nuclear reactors, they're going to get them just because they have the resources. Wow. Interestingly enough, almost 15% of Saudi oil actually goes to desalinization of their water, which is an enormously energy-intensive process, and that's a big reason that they want, one of the legitimate reasons they want this nuclear technology, so that they can export that oil rather than use it so inefficiently. At the end of the day, is it better for the United States to do this? Probably, because we would understand the reactors, the technology involved, have better control over it, and if ever, God forbid, went wrong, we would have an understanding of the details of the reactor and perhaps be able to deal with it.
Wow, two big stories, energy, water, it all fits together in that region. John Jordan, my friend, thank you so much for being on. Pleasure to have you on, man. Good discussion.
I'm Rick Sanchez. You found us on YouTube, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm also live every night at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV and Dish and cable and satellite, the RT app, and Pluto TV. I'll see you there.